Hey, what's up, YouTube and Triple T members? Jeremy Barber, owner of Trade in the Trend chat room on Discord. There is a link in the video description that will take you to our free members area, and then we do have a free 7-day trial whenever you upgrade. So I put out a watch list last Sunday, and it was pretty successful this week. All of them gave a little bit of chance for profit, but there were many 20 to 300% moves off of that list. So here are the results from that. Okay, so as you saw, it was a pretty great week. So today we're going to be putting together another watch list for this week, and here that is. Here's the making of this week's watch list. Last week's watch list was pretty successful. We had quite a few large moves on it. So we're going to be doing kind of the same thing this week, but with a little bit different search criteria, a couple of different things that I'm looking for this week that's different from last week. So the first scan is actually going to be one that I did run last week. And it starts with my end of day scan, except for this relative volume. I'm going to move up to over 3 instead of over 1. So I'm looking for ones that had a ton of volume compared to what they normally do. And these would be more of a day trade tickers. The couple that I came up with last week made pretty large moves. Eyes and ears were 2 of them. And eyes actually was over like 200%, 250%, something like that. So this one, big gap up, nothing, and then another big gap up. It looks like it was bought out, is what you would normally think whenever you see a huge gap up and then just not much movement. But it's weird to see that other gap up. But there's something going on with it. I'm not even gonna entertain it. Here's one. We saw a gap up, closed over this resistance. So I'm going to take a closer look at it and see what we got. RSI, right at overbought level, but again, until we get up to about 80, and you can see that that's about where this RSI has topped out in the past, was 80 to 82 range. So being at 70, no concern. MACD, we're about to cross right there. Our stochastics crossed after this pullback, so everything's looking good. 35 million float, not much short. Average volume's a little low. I'd like to see over 500,000, but if we're getting volume on the day and this is a day trade, it doesn't scare me off too much. 9 support, psychological whole dollar support plus this trend line right here. So this is one that'll definitely go on the list. I mentioned this one with a close over 11 on Friday. It didn't make the end of day list, but this is another one that I'm going to go ahead and put on the list for this week. Again, it would most likely be a day trade. Looking for it to hold this 11 line. We had a wick run up and we couldn't quite break it right here on this run. Now we closed over that 11. We have this about 1170 on this trend line right here. Looks like a little channel, so that's something to be aware of. Our RSI is not too high. Our MACD is crossing over our 0 line on the histogram. Stochastics, a little bit overbought, a little bit larger float than I would typically trade. Plenty of volume, normally over 2 million. So again, it's another one we'll put on the list and see if it turns into anything. Okay, EVON. They are a Bitcoin miner. Bitcoin passed 60,000 over the weekend. I'm not sure where it currently sits. It might have pulled back below that now, but Bitcoin made a huge move, so this is something that's going to be on the watch list. Typically, Bitcoin's been moving. Whenever it does move over the weekend, it actually starts to pull back or sell off a little bit coming into the market open on Monday. So a lot of these tickers will actually be red when we open up, depending on if Bitcoin stays down or not. But any Bitcoin miner or anything crypto related that pops up on any of my scans, I'm going to go ahead and put on the list. Everything looks good. Yeah, huge average volume, all indicators pointing up. Everything is pointing up. I know this was a pretty large move, and it's pretty scary to jump in, in the middle of this candle on the day, anything other than a day trade. So put that on the list as well. Here's one that's been pretty volatile over the last 2 days. You can see ran up to over 10, pulled back to around 560 area. This thing right here closed down actually on the day at $4, ran up to almost $8, so pulled back almost 50% right there. It's been making some pretty large moves. I'm going to put it on the list just to keep an eye on it, see if it turns into a day trade. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be anything. And look at this RSI up over 91. It's definitely not anything you'd be holding overnight. 13 million flow. Average volume 6 million. They're trading almost half of their flow on average. That's huge volume. And then on top of that, 125 million shares traded on Friday with 13. That means that the float was almost traded over 10 times. Those are just ridiculous numbers. Anything that's putting out that sort of volume on a day definitely has to be watched. 12% short, less than 20 million. RSI 80, starting to get up there. Stochastics, you can see starting to kind of possibly flatten out. MACD way up here. This just looks overextended to me, honestly. I don't think I'm even going to put this on the list. It looks ready for a pullback. Here's one. We had resistance at $4, broke over that. It's sitting up about 10% off of that right now. Right here, about 410 area. We had another resistance. So 410 and 4 would be our support at this point. Huge volume on Friday. RSI 77, not too concerned about that. Stochastics, we're overbought territory. Again, it would be a day trade if anything. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the list. 32 million flow. Average volume 184,000. Again, it would be a day trade only. Anything that has this low, if it's under 500,000, it's risky to take any swing, any overnight hold on that. Because if the volume dries up, it's very hard to get rid of. So on the list, but day trade only. Only 4% short. Average volume 150K. I don't like this chart enough. You can see we had an ascending triangle, but very loose. I really would have had this line up here, more around 725 area. Broke that, but on a gap up. I don't like trading gap ups really, but definitely whenever it gaps up over resistance, I typically don't like them. Average volume again 150K. Nah. Seal gapped up. I would say we had a horizontal resistance around 430 right there. RSI looks good. MACD crossing back over. Stochastics pretty much right in the middle. No signs of overbought or anything. 450 would be another psychological resistance. Ran all the way up to 590 area. 50 million float just about. Not much short. Relative volume. Average volume 3.51 million. So, and this thing traded over 300 million shares on Friday. That's a huge volume. Huge volume on that. So that's one that definitely worth going on the list. See, so RSI looks good, not overbought. MACD, we got a cross right there. We're still below the 50 line on this. Stochastics right in the middle. 127 million float, pretty large float, a little bit higher than I normally trade. Average volume 20 million, so no problem with worrying about getting out or anything. So you can see we have a little kind of a megaphone pattern. Both lines sloping away from each other, this blue line and this purple line. So about 125 here and about 55 here. So we'll call it 40 cents. Yeah, I mean, at this point where it closed at 92, you're risking more back down to this support than you would be making up to this resistance. It's kind of in no man's land. Honestly, I would rather take this trade if I see it break over this 125 area. That way I could enter and play that as support, and I'm only risking, 8 to 10 cents on that, versus right now where it's basically a gamble right there. Huge volume on Friday. Again, everything else looks good. A little bit higher of a float, like I said, but it's just the risk to reward's not there. Maybe it pops up later in the week as a play, but right now it's not. Okay, so that's all the momentum breakout plays. Let me reset this. So now I want to look at some tickers that may have been affected by COVID. Now the economy, places are starting to open up more. The vaccine is starting to roll out, be more widely available. So I want to look for, what industry or sector has been hurt by COVID that may be starting to open up. And the first ticker that I think of is American Airlines, or CCL, which is Carnival Cruise Lines. That's something that people haven't been on cruises, they haven't even been going, but this is going to be part of what's opening up to us now, and people more likely to take a cruise knowing that more people are vaccinated, and the effects of COVID are kind of getting past us now. Hopefully it stays that way, but that's what the market is thinking right now. And so these tickers, I want to see, what they're doing. So CCL, you can see that we had a little bit of a consolidation going on right here. We briefly broke above drop back down into it. About 26 to 28 area. It's broke up above that. So this is one that's going to go on my list. But what I wanted to use this for, to scroll down, see, this is consumer cyclical and travel services. So now I'm going to run my screener, look for those, consumer cyclical and travel services. So you can see there's only 2 pages. See if anything pops out at me. This one, again, I'm mostly a swing trader, so seeing something overextended like this, I'm not really interested. TOR, RCL. So here's another play that is a cruise line. You can see resistance about at 9. We went up, pulled back here, 85 to 90 in that area. We get a solid close up over, really I would say about 90, 90.5. I like this with some volume. You can see this volume was pretty low. It was not above average volume on Friday, so that doesn't give me great confidence in it. I want to see a strong close, maybe even up over the wick of this, over 92. Closes over 92 with some volume. I would like to, that would be something I would be interested in. Again, all of this is kind of pointing down, which I'm not really concerned with right now. I want to see it start turning. Here's another Norwegian cruise line. Again, indicators, I'm not really worried about. So pretty similar. We went up here, we dropped back down right here. You can see this long wick. That could be a sign of reversal. We're heading up. So about 30.3. Now this closed over about 30.65. And there's a gap up to this about 33 right there. So this is again volume, you can see, was heavier Friday than it was Thursday. So this is definitely one that I'm putting on the list as well. None of these other charts really. Let's see. Again, we've got a channel about 260 to about 4, and we're about 330, kind of right in that middle, that no man's land. Again, if it pulls back to support, could be a trade. If it breaks through this resistance, could be a trade, but where it sits right now, not really much there. Relative volume, about 1.5, so it got decent volume really all week last week. So, but it's not in a place where I could take a trade on it. Okay, so not much. I mean, this one, large move, but 55, it's up almost 60. I mean, that's one that I feel like is pretty much gone. So staying with this consumer cyclical and looking for things that might be opening up, I'm going to look at lodging and see if lodging has any charts that I like. Yeah, I don't really see anything there. Also go to leisure and look and see what we got. This FNKO was on one of the earlier lists. It's Callaway Golf. Golf could be something opening up, more so than it was, at least without restrictions. Okay, so this Six Flags Entertainment, okay, this chart first caught my eye. Just barely over the $50 mark. That's going to be a psychological resistance. You can see the closed right at 50 on this one. It gapped up above it, but then traded down. So I would be looking for a close over 51 on this. We also have this, what was resistance right here. We broke above it. So about 48. So from 50, I mean, that's a $3 gap down or a move down right there on. So about 6% to that resistance or to that support. But the $50 mark is what I would be playing. RSI, a little bit overbought, but again, I'm not concerned with 70 till we get up into the 80s. MACD, it's pretty overextended, pretty far above the zero line. Stochastics showing overbought, but about to cross again. Float 75, that's a range I like to trade. Above average volume, 1.6 million, so easily traded. So this is one I'm going to go ahead and put on the list also. So that's all of these charts that I would even consider. This one, yeah, too much indecisiveness right there. We had a doji, kind of a little hammer, but still small real body. Another doji right there. Pretty new chart. Yeah, there's just not much there. So that's the end of those scans. The last thing I want to look at, we're going to reset all of these, are tickers that may not have completely recovered from the drop last March, the COVID crash, we'll call it. So I want to look at performance over the year. I want it to be down 30% on the year. So that still brings up 17 pages of results. So I want to go to my price. I want to look under 30. Order still has 16 pages. Now I want to look at anything that was up on Friday. Okay, we're down to 7 pages. That's something that's pretty manageable. Okay, so here we had a nice consolidation channel. It's broke out. I mean, it moved from 13 up to 16. Not too much. Again, I'm a short time either day trader or I'm holding 1 to 2 nights at most. So anything that takes, multiple weeks to move that much, I'm not really going to be interested. Here's one. Chart looks interesting. So pulled back here, multiple bottom right here. We can see bounce off of it here, 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 here. Moved up to this line, but we pulled back down. And this line is about 460, sitting at 5, so 40 cents, about 8% off of support. And the top of this channel is at 8. The indicators, nothing really. Stochastics looks good. It's trending up, about to run into the 50 line. MACD is about to cross. I could see some potential here. Float, only 2.8. That's pretty risky, but again, we are sitting, even their multiple bottom 460, very bottom, we're probably looking at around 4 here. Yeah, 415. So this is one I'm going to put on the list. it just presents a good risk to reward from here at 450, giving up 40 cents to the top of this channel, looking at $3. That's, if I can risk 40 cents for a potential $3, that's a trade I'm going to make all day. ATNX, again, this was on the list last week. You can see it's done nothing but go up since then. Let me look at it and see. Volume really hasn't started to increase too much. RSI just slowly grinding up, still oversold. MACD flattened out, heading towards a cross here. Our stochastics just been trending up. Again, this is, nothing's changed from last week. We're going to run into resistance around 560. So you got about 50 cents, about a 10% move from where it's at now. Then you're looking around 6 for next resistance. So again, it'll go on the list again. This is one I took a trade on it last week. I think I made about 4% on it. Didn't move as quickly as I had hoped, but this is a pretty large candlestick compared to the rest from Friday, so definitely want to be watching it. Okay, we broke this down sloping line right here. Didn't get too much Friday. We had huge volume Thursday, but didn't do too much Friday. I would look to see 923, so a move above Friday's close and then Friday's high would be pretty bullish with about 9. We've got a MACD cross above the 50 line. RSI is fine. Stochastics were trending up. You can kind of see it kind of started to taper off on Friday. Float about 15 million. Average volume though 700. It's on the lighter side, but again, 700,000 I would feel comfortable. This would be something to go on the list. This is the only chart that kind of caught my eye. Again, kind of the same setup as the chart that we just looked at. Thursday and Friday candlesticks almost look identical. 30. RSI is trending up, stochastics trending up, MACD pretty much flat off of a pullback. 250, I would like to see this break and close over 250. Relative volume was not good on Friday, so pretty low volume. Yeah, I don't think candlesticks look the same as the last chart, but the volume's telling me a different story. GLBS is a shipper. Shippers are day trade only. Shippers were getting a little bit of volume last week, but nothing that was actionable, really. JE, I know they recently filed bankruptcy. KPTI was on the list last week, pulled back Friday. This one, yeah, I don't really see much there. Charts are kind of choppy. Some other tickers that I'm going to put on the watch list. I had mentioned Bitcoin earlier, breaking over 60,000. So all crypto related tickers like PHUN, NXTD, MARA, RIOT, all those are going to be on the watch list for this week. My concern for those is that they're going to gap up and then trade down. Ship is another one that is a shipper, obviously. Very volatile, very risky. They like to run up and then sell off, but you can see it's been pretty much staying flat over the last few days. Stochastics trending up. Relative volume, yeah, no. WMC. You can see we have this triangle formed right here, or a wedge pattern, whatever you want to call it, closed above that. Still want to see 343, 350 area. I'd want to see it close over the 350 area. Relative volume 0.90, so a little bit lower, but manageable. A lot closer to where I'd like to see it. 60 million float, 7% short. Indicators look pretty good, so this is one that I'll put on the list to see. So I think that's going to be it for this week. So we have got 14 tickers on the watch list. I believe we had about 15 last week. So again, that's, I want to be 15 to 20, make it where I can go in and do my research, but I'm not spending 8 to 10 hours trying to research multiple companies. So again, I'm looking at charts, I'm looking at overall support and resistance lines, I'm looking about potential upcoming catalysts, anything that I can do on the weekend where I don't have to do it during the week if these pop up and do become a trade. Anything that I can do now will just help me during the week make faster decisions, better informed decisions. I hope you found this useful. You might have found some tickers that you can use. At minimum, you at least saw my thought process whenever I'm going through to look at these charts. Again, overall, I'm looking at the charts, but I'm kind of looking in certain sectors or industries that I think may be getting attention from the market this week. So if you did find specific tickers that will be tradable or might be tradable for you, at least you saw the thought process that I was going through to find these tickers. So I hope you'll benefit one way or another from this. Thanks for joining.
Okay, so that is the creating of this week's watch list. I will have the watch list posted at the end of this video. So if any of them set up for you and you like to take a trade on them, they're there for you. I'm not going to get all of them. I'm not going to get a majority of the runs on most of them. I'm just looking for my solid 5% move and I'm out. But hopefully you can benefit from this watch list and make a little bit of money. If you have anybody out there that you know of that's trading, struggling, or anybody thinking about starting to trading, make sure to send them one of my video links. Have them check me out. Here for experienced traders, but also mostly those new traders that, they're just starting or thinking about getting started that really have no clue where to turn. Really trying to help as many people as we can. So if you see anybody out there or know anybody, send them a link. And if you have not already done so, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video. Thanks for joining. Good luck and stay green.